I was crying to you. I have no idea how we're going to pay rent. And I mean, I was just so in my head, like, this is awful. How are we going to do this? I remember just bawling and bawling and bawling on the phone to you. To me, at that time, it was such an overwhelming feeling. Because I can remember that feeling. And I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea how we were going to get out of it. Okay, that's it. Like, I've just got to power down and get through. I was like, I need to go bigger. It was this amazing thing. I just wasn't even scared. I just went, what I like to say is I gave it up to God. And so we get in and saw that BuzzFeed picked us up as one of the top Mother's Day gifts to give during quarantine or during lockdown. And the article went viral. And we sold $80,000 worth of Paint Your Pet kits in a matter of like 6 weeks, I think it was. Um,
Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Reality Practice Quantum Creations, where I interview guests each week who have experienced a quantum shift, an explosion, basically, in their reality, both professionally, personally, and have rewritten their entire story of their life. So today's guest is, like I said, my beautiful wife, April Kramer. And over the last 7 years, April has completely rewritten her entire story of life. But for her, the real quantum explosion really took place about 2 years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic. And lastly, April is the CEO and founder of Apple Pie Painting. And she, in my opinion, is well on her way to becoming one of the top female business leaders and CEOs in the world. So without further delay, let's welcome my beautiful wife, April Kramer, to the show. Welcome, honey.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me today.
Of course.
Welcome, everybody, for tuning in. We got a few viewers out there, so thanks a lot. Let's jump right into this. You know, the whole reason I wanted to have you on the show today was to share this amazing story of what happened to your company, Apple Pie Painting. We're planning to do a whole podcast of you, which we've already done once, but it got erased thanks to a computer crash last fall. So we haven't been able to reschedule the interview. I thought today'd be perfect to give a little teaser about what you experienced just 2 years ago and how it really just exploded to who you are today. Would you start from there and just share, where were you prior to the pandemic? What happened after?
So prior to the pandemic, I had been building my business, Apple Pie Painting, which was a sip and paint concept. And we had recently started doing these Paint Your Pet events around the Kansas City area. But we were not really taken off. And at the time, you and I together, we were not doing well financially. You were working door-to-door sales in February of 2020. And so if anybody knows anything about door-to-door sales, February in the Midwest is not ideal.
Not fun, to say the
Not
least.
ideal, yeah. And so I went, that was the month of my 40th birthday. And so I went on a trip to New York City with my mom and my cousins and my aunt. And we had been out that day. It was like towards the end of February. We had been out one day just having drinks and going and sightseeing. And that night, I had called you on the phone. I was in the cafe of the hotel, but the cafe was shut down. So it was like totally black. It was at night. And I was crying to you. I have no idea how we're going to pay rent. And I mean, I was just so in my head, like, this is awful. How are we going to do this? I remember just bawling and bawling and bawling on the phone to you. And so then you're on the phone with me. And that same morning, you had gone out for a run, which was your first run since the previous summer when you did your triathlon. And you turned a corner and blew your knee out. And here I am crying on the phone to you. How are we going to pay rent? Now you're you're disabled and can't go door knock. And so I was just, to me at that time, it was such an overwhelming feeling. Because I can remember that feeling, and I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea how we were going to get out of it. And you said, it's okay, because whenever I blew my knee out, I came home and meditated, and I saw a vision. Your company is going to explode. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, that's great. Your vision's awesome, but how are we going to pay rent? And so anyway, so then I come home from New York, and I was like, okay, that's it. Like, I've just got to power down and get through. I need to go bigger rather than going smaller and like trying to tighten up. I knew that I needed to go bigger. And so that first week of March in 2020, I started hiring. I think I hired 3 new people to help me do these events around Kansas City. And I went out and I booked all of my spring up. Like, I had at least a dozen events booked that week, that first week of March. So I was like killing it. I was on cloud 9. I was like, this is awesome. Like, we're going to get through this. And then we had something come through with your side of work that helped us get through rent and help us get through that first part of the month. And then I could just see, I mean, sales were taking off. Like, it was nice, but this is not the explosion that you were about.
So everything was shaping up to be like an amazing spring. We're getting, you're getting ready to catapult your company, and then COVID happened.
Lockdown, and all events nationwide are canceled. And that is exactly, I mean, that was the entirety of what my business was. And so when that happened, it was this amazing thing. I just wasn't even scared. What I like to say is I gave it up to God at that time. And I was just like, I have no idea what the plan's going to be, but me worrying about it isn't going to help. And so when I released that pressure off of myself, and I just gave it up to the universe, to God, and allowed him to provide, I was like, well, maybe I could put these into little kits and I can like ship them. And so I put the idea of the kits up on Etsy, which is, for people that don't know, it's like people that do home crafts have shops on there, and so they can sell them as a small business. So I put the kits on Etsy, and I was selling about 3 a day for about a week. And then next thing you know, I'm standing in Home Depot getting paint to paint our bathroom, because what else was I going to do in a pandemic? And my phone notifications started going off from sales at Etsy. Excuse me. And I sold 36 kits that day. I was standing in Home Depot. I come home to you and I'm like, holy crap, what is going on? Like, my phone's just going cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Because that's the sound you had set to sales every time you make a sale on Etsy. So.
Correct, yeah. And so we get in and saw that BuzzFeed picked us up as one of the top Mother's Day gifts to give during quarantine or during lockdown, something like that. And the article went viral. And we sold $80,000 worth of Paint Your Pet kits in a matter of like 6 weeks, I think it was. We were, that was the explosion.
So you're saying you went from 200, what's that?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, so you were down to your last $200 to your name. The pandemic hits, you no longer have a product. You invented a new product. You just threw it up on Etsy. Fingers crossed, maybe it'll make enough to pay our bills. And the next thing you know, it gets picked up by BuzzFeed and explodes. And now you're selling literally globally.
Globally, yes.
Yeah, and the money's just pouring in, all in the matter of what, about 3-4 months. You completely shifted realities. And I think a lot of it, you said it, you let go, you let God. It's kind of faith, right?
Yes, and it wasn't a matter of 3 or 4 months. It was literally a matter of 3 or 4 weeks that my
Oh,
reality completely shifted. You know,
even faster.
crying in the basement of the hotel at night to 4 weeks later being so overwhelmed with not just money in the account. It was, oh my gosh, now I've got to process this stuff. It was like, it was one of those be careful what you wish for type of situations. But yeah, it was, I mean, it was literally a matter of weeks and my entire world shifted.
That's incredible, amazing story. I'm so proud of you. You know, what you said it in the beginning of your story, you kind of had that idea of you got home from New York and you said you just decided you got to go big,
Well, yeah,
basically. So it's like, what do you tell other people out there that are fearing, especially women entrepreneurs or women wanting to be entrepreneurs? What would you tell them moving forward about going big, just taking the chance,
well, first of all, if you don't know why you're doing it, what you're dreaming for, or whatever, you'll never put in the effort. You'll never put in the fight that has to be there. Um, but really, it is about perseverance. I mean, there in any place there are going to be highs and lows, but the bigger you go, the faster you'll get there. And big seems scary, I think, to people. I mean, I still get that scared feeling from time to time about going big, because when it's small, it's something you can tangibly manage,
Hmm.
right? You're the one in control of it.
So you
Haha.
believe, right? Yeah.
And so that was the thing. Whenever I hit that moment, I was like, when we were down that low, I was like, okay, I've got to step up now. Like, he can't go door knock. It's my job now. I'm going to step up. I'm going to go big. And I'm just going to go all in, because what else do we have to lose? Right. And not that I think you should always have your back against the wall to push through, but boy, it's an awesome catalyst to push you through.
Yes, yes. Nothing like fear to push you and to drive you. If you think the lions are back there getting ready to eat you, or a bear, you're going to run faster than you've ever ran, probably, right? So,
Definitely.
uh, I guess a couple last questions here that pertain really to mindset, and I think you're kind of covering it here. What was the mindset you had to get into, especially over the last couple years, once this took off?
Mm,
Once this exploded into this new reality, you were no longer the person you were
right.
just a few months prior to that. Who did you have to become now? I guess that'd be the question. Who did you transform into, and who are you still transforming into?
Yeah. So one of the biggest ones is I am enough. Was believe that shifting my mindset to believe I am enough to handle this. I am enough to blow this thing up. I am enough to manage this just internally. That is the biggest thing. I think so often. I mean, this just happened to me on Monday when we got back from vacation, and we had some issues, as I think most entrepreneurs can relate. When we went on vacation, things didn't work exactly the way we wanted them to, right? And so I was dealing with a lot of that cleanup, and I started crying, and I was like, maybe I'm not made to be a CEO. Maybe this is not my skill set. I started going into self-doubt. I'm not a good enough teacher. I'm not a good enough leader. And I went into that whole thing. But luckily, because of the fact that after we went viral, I hired a coach, or you and I both did, but we hired a coach who helped me understand that mindset and ingrain that mindset into me, that I am enough, that I am amazing, that I am awesome, and I am really, 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 really fucking great at this. And
Right.
so now, like, just that happening on Monday, sure, I'm going to have those down moments, but I was able to pull myself out of it so quickly. I didn't
Mm.
dwell. I didn't create actions behind those thoughts and feelings. I acknowledged those thoughts and feelings and I had them, but because of my mindset being that I am enough, I am enough, I am enough, like repeating that to myself for so long helped me to snap right back out of that. The other mindset is the eternal mindset, a spiritual, whatever you want to call it. Like it's the thing that when you say, I'm not in control of this, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to guide it and manage it. Um, and I'm always open to the opportunities that come my way to learn and grow. So, you know, like just always reminding myself to stay in that heartfelt, the emotion
Mm-hmm. The faith and the belief, a lot of
of
it.
freedom, freedom of it's not all on me, you know, that this comes to me and I'm here. The universe trusts me to manage it, and that's why I'm here, you know, and so always that God is number one, and he allows for the amazing things in my life.
I think that's so powerful what you just said. You know, even though all this amazing things happened to you, you know, a couple years ago when you built this company and you thought you had it right and everything's humming, you get back on Monday and all sorts of things crash and go
Oh,
out of control. And it's just amazing how our mind works. And you went straight back, and this is everybody's, you know,
right.
not you, but it's a great example of how to get yourself back up, because your mind wanted to go straight back to that I'm not enough, I'm an idiot, I can't do this, what was I thinking? And where 2-3 years ago you and I both would have went down that path,
Uh,
allowed it to just drag us down and down and down, you recognized it, you had the awareness to understand, wait a minute, this is bullshit, this is a
right.
story I had to tell myself. I used to tell myself, but this isn't who I am now. You literally rewrote your programming now that you know that you are enough, that you can conquer anything that comes your way. And it's through the belief, the faith, the letting go, and then in the knowing that what do you have to be afraid of, right? You're going to be taken care of. God loves you. The universe loves you. Just let it go, right?
Yes, yes.
Well said. You know, I think we're down to time for our last question
Okay.
before we finish up. First of all, where can people find you? Where can they find Apple Pie Painting? And give us your spiel real quick.
Yeah, so you can find us all over the place. We're on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, although we're not really active on Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Apple Pie Painting. Apple pie, like humble as pie or easy as pie. We do paint by number pet kits. So you send in a photo of your pet and we'll hand draw it out, and then you can paint your own picture of your
Oh,
pet.
there, yeah, yeah. You've got the two right there in the background.
Yeah.
A couple examples. So,
Yeah.
yeah, guys, if you want to get creative, if you want to, if you've got a pet and you want to paint a beautiful picture of it, simple and easy, have a lot of fun. April's the person to contact. Well, just go to applepiepainting.com. So, thank you so much for coming on the show. Let's do our last question here, and then we're going to wrap it up. And that last question is, since this is all about creating our own reality, if you could, at the snap of your fingers, jump into the reality you most desire, what would you create and why? Go.
Mm. Everybody always says I'm living in it. And while that is true, I would create being able to live anywhere and travel all over the world while running my businesses. That is what I'm in the process of creating, and we've come a long way. But while the typical answer is true, I want to go live on a beach or in mountains or wherever and go experience the world, the culture, and meet all the lovely humans on this earth that bring joy to the world.
I love it. And that's my reality too that I want to create. So I think we're attached on this
Yeah.
journey here together. And I couldn't have picked a better partner to go on this incredible ride with. So if you liked everything here today, guys, we're going to be doing an hour-long interview with April where we're really going to dive into the good stuff down the road. So stay tuned. But at the end of the day, thank you all for watching. I so much appreciate you for joining us today, hearing April's incredible story, transformation, talks about perseverance, how she's enough, faith, belief, all these tools that we need in order to create this amazing reality. You can do it. I can do it. We're all doing it. Let's just choose how to do it. So until next time, guys, stay blessed. And remember to always ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today? Bye. Thanks for joining, April.